Midst of all this, we welcome back to the show great friend, mentor, Newt Gingrich, former House Speaker, Fox News contributor. Newt, so just, I'll call it some housekeeping. At President Trump's request, Darlene Graham Nordone is the temporary senator from the great state of South Carolina. Perhaps you know her. I don't. But Lindsey Graham came into office as part of your class of 1994 in the contract with America. So that's very cool. And I call him a great freedom fighter. I want to talk about a lot of stuff with you, Newt, but, you know, I wasn't crazy about his economics, whatever, but he was a freedom fighter on foreign policy. I mean, there's no question about that. And I think he'd be pretty unhappy camper today after the events of the last day or two.
Well, I think, first of all, that emotionally, it's a wonderful thing that President Trump recommended Lindsey's sister. As you know, she was basically orphaned at 13. Lindsey adopted her, helped raise her. She's a central person in his life. And I think to have her be senator for the rest of this year until they have a replacement elected, I think it's a wonderful gesture. And I think she will be very well received by both Democrats and Republicans. So I just thought it was a very nice touch at a time sometimes when we all get too angry, too partisan, too political. There's a certain family emotional piece to this that I think is pretty darn good.
You know, she's a registered Republican, Newt. Has anyone asked?
I can't quite imagine that Trump would have been this enthusiastic. I mean, Lindsey was one of the great characters of the Senate. I just wrote a piece for Fox News and talked about him. When I tried to summarize, and you were right, we go all the way back to 1994. He gave his first speech the day that we took over the Congress in January 95. And I've reprinted it, and it's just, Lindsey didn't actually change. He came from a poor family. He clawed his way up. He worked very hard. He was totally patriotic. He spent years in the military, retired as a colonel, and deeply, deeply loved the United States.
I got to go back to the Iran story. I mean, yes, I agree about loving the United States. He was a great patriot, and my riff echoes your sentiments exactly. A lot of people of note came into your class of 1994. You yourself are a great path maker, pathfinder. But Newt, this Iran thing now, everything seems to be going bad. The president, of course, is going to take action. Exactly all the actions we don't know yet, but he's presumably going to take action. But, you know, it was a performance-based deal, performance-based, quote unquote, but we let him have oil sales a little too soon, $5 billion. God knows what they're doing to it. They seem to be reopening some of their nuclear sites. They may be giving money to Hezbollah and their other proxies. I mean, we didn't renege, they reneged, but then again, they have a 50-year history of reneging, 47-year history. I mean, how do you assess this now? Oil prices, I hope they're peaking here. I don't want them to go, but they were up 8 or 9% today in West Texas. That throws a little bit of a monkey wrench into what was a promising story. How do you see it, Newt? These things, you know, this is about Iran, but this is about the Middle East, this is about freedom, but it's also about American politics.
You know, this may strike you as a strange analogy, but when Abraham Lincoln became president, and the South seceded, the senior general outlined for him what he called an anaconda strategy, that they would gradually surround and crush the rebellion. Well, if you watch week after week, our allies are getting madder at Iran, not at us. The Iranians are gradually losing power and capability. We are coercing them. They are in the middle, I think, of a huge internal fight between a faction that desperately wants a deal and a faction that desperately wants to keep up the old dictatorship. And I think the president is moving slower than I'd like, slower than you and Jack Keane would like, but he's moving methodically and saying, look, I am going to do what it takes, and you Iranians get to decide how much it takes. But whatever you decide, I'll live up to it. And I would say, because I have great faith in Admiral Cooper in the Central Command, and I've talked with him, and I am confident, and I know Jack talks to them all the time. I believe what the Iranians don't get yet is that because of our space-based assets, we have absolute knowledge
Yes.
every time they break the rules.
Yes.
And therefore, we are going to respond week by week. We're going to grind them down. But notice, he's done it without oil going to $200 a barrel. He's done it without the stock market crashing. He's done it in a calm way. And by the way, if you notice the NATO meeting, he's done it well. Even the Canadian Prime Minister said Trump was right and is moving in the right direction. Now, if you can be aggressive and get Canada to be on your side, you're doing something right.
Look, yes, if you can get right, Mark Carney, former central banker. Yeah, but look, I'll tell you what, Newt, the fly in the ointment here, and I supported the performance-based memorandum of understanding, but they gave away money before the performance. You know what I mean? That's the problem.
Sure.
And the oil sales were not done through the Omani channel. They were not done through the Treasury control OFAC. They were just straight oil sales. I don't know what the number is. I've seen $5 billion around. That's a lot of money for a country that's being badly defeated. And they're using the money for nefarious purposes. And it looks like, as you just said, these bird satellites in the sky, we know exactly what they're doing. And apparently they're going to reopen some of the nuclear operations, okay? Pickaxe being one of them. That's just awful. And that worries me, because remember how this started? Within a few weeks, they could have the capacity to develop a nuclear weapon. Remember all that? And that was what, way back last winter? So that stuff bothers me, Newt.
Look, it's very hard for us in an age when we want everything to be instant. We want instant coffee, instant on television, you name it. We get worried if our cell phone goes down for more than 3 seconds. The fact is, this is my guess. I have no secret knowledge, but my guess is that in the back of Trump's head, he's following a formula that says, let's try to bribe the guys who could be on our side. Let's try to kill the guys who are never going to be on our side. And let's see if we can move to a solution without having to try to occupy. Remember, this is a country that is twice the size of Texas and about 100 million people. And I think Trump has been walking a tightrope in his own mind, not giving up an inch, not backing off, but not getting sucked into a large land war that would be tremendously difficult to wage. And I think if you watch, the Iranians are weaker today than they were 6 months ago.
Yes.
And every week that goes by, they get a little bit weaker. And they've now put on more economic sanctions again. And what they're saying in part to the Iranian leadership is, look, stupid, you want to live in poverty? You want to live with nothing working? You want to live with no infrastructure? We can accommodate that.
Yeah.
But we don't want to. So we would like you to behave. And if you behaved, you could have prosperity. You could have security, and we could live together as neighbors. You get to choose. But the thing I'm impressed by, and much better than I thought it would be, frankly, every time the Iranians choose to be military and to go to war, Trump has backed up and said, fine, if this is what you want, let me give you some more. And I think that the truth is that Secretary Hegseth and Admiral Cooper have done a really good job of implementing the president's campaign plan. And I fully expect at some point in the not too distant future that the Iranian regime will break, and that in fact the IRGC, the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, will decisively lose power, and we'll get to some kind of modus vivendi.
Just no more money, Newt. You know what I mean? No more money. That'll do it. Anyway, Newt Gingrich, thank you. Appreciate it very, very much. Appreciate it as always. All right.